All right. All right. Americans for Prosperity. Is there going to be another looming shutdown? That's what they're warning us about today. But I'm going to say again, government shutdowns are more show. All show and no go, they used to say about certain cars when I grew up. That's kind of the way I feel about government shutdowns. Kurt Couchman, Senior Fiscal Policy Fellow at Americans for Prosperity, joining me now. Kurt, nice to have you back on the program.
Hey, Steve, it's great to be with you.
Look, a shutdown. I don't care. If that's what it takes to fix the economy, to fix the spending in this country, I don't care. Shut it all down and leave it shut down. People can't go to the park, I don't care. The only people that the government shutdown really affects, because it never affects the military. They try to, it's going to affect, doesn't do that, doesn't affect critical services, never does. It affects things that don't affect most people. Where am I wrong?
Well, I wish it were as easy as letting the government shut down to fix everything. But the truth is the shutdown only affects a quarter of spending and none of the revenue
Exactly.
policies, including all the spending through the tax code. And the threat of shutdowns puts a lot of power with the agenda setters, which are appropriations leaders and leadership generally. And instead of getting passage on the new appropriations through earning it with bottom up inclusive processes in Congress, they end up bloating it because when you throw more money at the special interests that are all funded through that, then they're happy enough they don't complain to members of Congress. And so you can sort of ram it through against a holiday deadline. So the bloat that comes from the deals because of the threat of a shutdown actually makes things worse and tilts everything more towards Democrats. If you look at the votes for the CRs and appropriations that have been enacted, you see a lot more Democratic votes than you do Republican. And so that's not really a recipe for getting the waste under control.
Yeah. We need to have there's 12 appropriations bills, right? We need to have regular appropriations bills. For the first time in a long time, we're actually discussing some of them now. Are we going to get through all 12? I don't know. But the fact that we're discussing them at all, Kurt, is a step forward, right? I mean, at least it's progress from where we've been, isn't it?
Well, let's back up a little bit. The 12 appropriations bills considered separately is something that came out of the Congressional Budget Act of 1974. This is something that Democrats wrote when they were in control of the House and the Senate, pushing back on President Richard Nixon. Oh, it doesn't really make sense to do a budget in that way. You're doing 12 different bills that differ from $7 billion for legislative branch to $700 billion for defense appropriations. And again, it's only a quarter of spending. So ultimately, what we really need is for Congress to do a real budget with all spending, all revenue in the same bill, get all the committees involved, and then you can really start weeding out the nonsense wherever it is in the federal budget. So ending shutdowns kind of helps you get in that direction, but the next big step after that is moving to a real comprehensive budget with everything in it.
Yeah, we need a comprehensive. So here's the real question. We're at what, $37 trillion in debt. We have this massive spending outlay. We've got spending that never gets, they've been talking about spending my entire life and yours. And only for some fleeting moments have we ever been able to reel it in. And now that we've jacked it up because of COVID, getting back to pre-COVID spending levels is never going to happen. So the Fed just prints money. Makes my money worth less, your money worth. It's called inflation. It's a tax on all of us. How do we ever get it under control? They've been promising this my entire life. It's never happened. We continue to spend more, and we give money to illegal aliens and this project and that pet project and pork project, and nobody cares. I'm a little frustrated, as you can tell.
Yeah, historically, federal spending goes up quite a lot when there is a Democratic speaker, which in the recent 2 decades has been Nancy Pelosi, and she has just been a spendthrift. And then when Republicans get in power and there's a Republican speaker, the rate of increase slows down, but never enough to counteract what Democrats did before. So it's a systemic problem. We need to fix the budget system. There's actually going to be votes on balanced budget amendments in the House in September. Now, we don't expect that one would pass in September, but it is an opportunity to start changing people's minds about that a bipartisan balanced budget amendment is possible at some point once we rebuild the consensus. And then it will also open a lot of conversations about how to have a budget process that works, that has the incentives naturally pointed towards weeding out the nonsense. I have a book that came out recently about this, and it's a very hopeful thing. I think we can fix all these problems. It's just incentives.
Let me ask you about it. Let me ask you about your book. Where would you start?
Sure.
What would be the first weeds you yanked out by the root?
Oh boy, where to start? I mean, there's so
Just
much
give me one
nonsense
or
in foreign
two.
affairs, of course. Um, there are still energy subsidies, green energy subsidies that we should get rid of. There are a lot of things the federal government is doing that are strictly not in the Constitution for the federal government to be doing. So, education is something the states can and should handle. Surface transportation is another thing. I mean, it's good to have
Wouldn't it be
infrastructure,
better?
but you want to have it in the states.
I don't know where you live, Kurt, but wouldn't it be better if we had Uber cards as opposed to buses that cost $500,000 a piece or more and run around each city empty? I mean, that's more of the local level,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah.
it's just insanity.
Public
Just give them
transportation is
Uber
so
cards.
wasteful.
Here you get
Absolutely.
$1,000 worth of Uber rides a month. That'll take you to work in the grocery store this many
And
times, right?
they're becoming driverless as we speak. Like, it's incredible the
Right.
progress that's being made. So there's no reason to build any more light rail or these bus lines, especially like the
Right.
crazy expensive like electric buses and that kind of thing.
Completely agree. Green energy subsidies. I want to just touch on this real quick. I have a client that advertised on this program that puts in geothermal systems, and he said the big beautiful bill took out a lot of the subsidies that have helped move his product for a while, and they're going to run out at the end of the year. So a lot of those are gone, aren't they?
That's right. Or they're phasing out over the next couple of years. The long-term budget challenge, though, is really mostly about federal healthcare programs
Oh
that have
yeah.
an enormous amount of waste, could be so much more efficient, deliver better care, really focus on the patients and the families rather than the providers and the insurance companies. Right now, they're in service to the bureaucracy, and that diverts attention from the people they're actually supposed to serve. So much opportunity there. We've got a big imbalance in Social Security. There are ways of tackling that. The challenge is that members of Congress know what they need to do. They just don't know how to do it and
They
survive
just they
politically.
might know how to do it. They just don't do it. Anyhow, Kurt, I got to leave it
Some of
there.
them do.
They
Okay.
don't do it. That's a fact. They've been there their entire adult lives and still don't know how to do it. I don't buy that. Anyhow, Kurt Couchman, greatly appreciate that. Americans for
See you.
prosperity. Cut the
Thanks for
spending,
having me.
you piglets. Anyhow, thank you, sir. We'll be back after this.